In our previous lectures, we talked about Taghut, anything or anyone that leads people away from Allah's guidance and into disbelief. We started by exploring Taghut's first characteristic, leading others from the light of Islam into the darkness of disbelief. We gave examples like Satan and democratic systems which put human desires above Allah's guidance, above Allah's laws. Today, we will focus on Taghut's second characteristic, creating and following laws that go against Allah's commands. This includes anyone or any system that replaces Allah's guidance with human-made laws. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us in the Quran, ألم تر إلى الذين يزعمون أنهم آمنوا بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك يريدون أن يتحاكموا إلى الطاغوت وقد أمروا أن يكفروا به ويريد الشيطان أن يضلهم ضلالا بعيدا. Have you not seen those who claim to believe in what was revealed to you and what was revealed before you? They wish to refer to Taghut for judgment, even though they were commanded to reject it, and Satan desires to lead them far astray. This verse reminds us that seeking guidance, seeking judgment from systems other than Allah's revelation is a very dangerous path. In Islam, only Allah has the right to legislate, to decide what is permissible, halal, and what is forbidden, haram. When humans create laws that contradict this, they are becoming a form of Taghut. Let me give you some examples. In many countries today, laws are made on human opinions, societal trends, or majority votes instead of Allah's guidance. For example, legalizing same-sex marriage, gambling, alcohol, even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly forbids this. Another thing is that they declare that sovereignty belongs to the people or the state, when in Islam, sovereignty belongs only to Allah. Supporting or participating in such systems by voting or endorsing these laws is a form of agreeing with Taghut, which means recognizing human authority over Allah's laws. Another example is using non-Islamic courts for judgment. Many people rely on secular courts for issues like inheritance, business disputes, or marriage, even though Islamic rulings are clear. A person might go to the court that distributes wealth differently than the Quran on inheritance. Instead of seeking advice from knowledgeable Muslims, they trust systems that ignores completely Allah's laws. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us about this in the Quran. أَمْ لَهُمْ شُرَكَاء شَرَعُوا لَهُم مِّنَ الدِّينِ مَا لَمْ يَأْذَنْ بِهِ اللَّهُ. Do they have partners with Allah who have legislated for them in religion that which Allah has not allowed? Another form of Taghut comes from cultural practices that contradict Islam. In some cultures, family disputes are resolved based on customs rather than Islamic teaching. Inheritance is distributed unfairly, favoring certain family members, even though Islam provides clear instruction in this subject. Superstitious rituals like relying on charms or seeking blessing from graves take priority over praying to Allah directly. When people prioritize these practices and justify themselves with statements like, "This is how our family always done it," they elevate traditions above Allah's laws. Allah criticized this in the Quran. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ قَالُوا بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ مَا أَلْفَيْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاءَهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. When it is said to them, "Follow what Allah has revealed," they reply, "We will follow what we found our forefathers practicing," even though their forefathers lacked understanding and guidance. In today's world, people often question the relevance of Islamic rulings, placing their own opinions above Allah's laws, above Allah's teachings and guidance. For example, some argue that hijab is outdated or unnecessary in modern times. Some others say Islamic inheritance is unfair. and need to be modernized. This attitude mirrors the arrogance of Iblis, who disobeyed Allah, saying, I am better than him. You created me from fire and created him from clay. When people prioritize their own opinion over Allah's guidance, over Allah's teaching, they risk turning their own mind, their intellect, into a form of Taghut. Rejecting Taghut is a key part of being a true believer. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرُ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. Whoever disbelieves in Taghut and believes in Allah has grasped the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. To reject Taghut, we must avoid supporting systems or practices that oppose Allah's laws, even if they are popular or widely accepted. Seek Islamic solutions for disputes and avoid non-Islamic courts. Replace cultural practices that contradict Islam with those rooted in the Quran and the Sunnah. Trust Allah's wisdom over our own opinions, even when His rulings challenge our understanding. So this lecture continues our discussion on Taghut, focuses on the dangers of following systems and practices that contradict Allah's laws. Whether it's man-made legislation, reliance on secular courts, or cultural traditions, these influences pull us away from Tawheed. As Muslims, our responsibility is to reject all forms of Taghut and align every part of our lives with Allah's guidance. Only by doing so we can remain steadfast and protect ourselves from the traps of disbelief. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to recognize and reject all forms of Taghut and keep us firm on His straight path. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.